Hello again, everyone. Today, we're going to show you what really happens when hope turns into money. His birthday is March 5th, 1963, and he was born in Houston, Texas. He was one of 6 kids in a ministry-focused home. When Joel's sister Lisa was born in 1958, everything changed for his father, John Osteen. John Osteen used to be a Southern Baptist preacher with really bad health issues. What happened then really scared John. He stopped doing the things he used to do and began talking about healing and miracles. Just 1 year later, in 1959, John and Dodie opened Lakewood Church in Houston in an old feed shop. Although it started out small, with only 234 seats, it held something strong. The church started to grow slowly. As a child, Joel grew up with religion and family. Later, his sister Lisa became a preacher, and his brother Paul worked as a missionary and as a surgeon. Their home was full of prayer, hope, and the idea that with faith, anything was possible. Joel finished high school in 1981. That same year, their mother Dodie was told she had cancer that would kill her, but she was sure she would live, and she did. What happened made their religion stronger. Joel knew then that he was different from them. Various others. He was tired of preaching, and he loved working behind the scenes, especially with cameras. He was shy and quiet. He went to Oral Roberts University in Oklahoma to study radio and TV after high school, but he didn't stay there long. As a teenager, Joel dropped out of school and went back home in 1982. Luckily, he wasn't lost. He wanted to do something. He started the TV program at Lakewood from scratch and did everything by himself. His choices included the right cameras, lights, and even what his dad should wear every Sunday. Joel did this for 17 years. Although his family was on stage, he sat in the audience and edited, directed, and made sure that every week the word reached more people. His education was lacking, but he was making a big progress. So many times, John Osteen asked his son to speak. Joel rejected everything, saying, "Daddy, you're the preacher. Just allow me to enhance your beauty." On the other hand, things changed in January 1999. I finally got Joel to say yes. He gave his first speech on January 17th. Even though he was scared and confused, he did it. After 6 days, bad things happened. A heart attack killed John Osteen all of a sudden. He was 77 years old. Joel's father never heard another lecture after that one. Joel was no longer just the man behind the camera. His leadership was the only one left. Joel Osteen became the senior leader of Lakewood Church on June 7th, 1999. He hadn't gone to school. No degree from a seminary and not much experience speaking. There was something else he had, though. His dad had been watching him for years. It was easy for him to speak from the heart. There was no shouting or warning about hell from him. He talked about having faith in a better tomorrow, being kind, and having hope. The things he said were simple and good. He had a big smile on his face. He was called the happy preacher by some. Some people who didn't like him said he was too soft and didn't teach the real gospel. But a huge number of people thought he was just what they needed. When Joel was in charge, Lakewood Church grew like crazy. Prior to his arrival, around 8,000 people visited every week. In 2004, that number had grown to more than 25,000. Joel used more than just lectures. He bought more time on TV, doubled the church's budget, and put up signs. He made Lakewood famous all over the country. But they had to have more room. In 2003, he did something courageous. He was in charge of the church's takeover of Houston's huge compact center, which used to be the site of NBA games. The church rented the building for $12 million a year for 30 years and decided to rebuild the inside for about $90 million. A lot of people were shocked by that number, but Joel thought it was worth it. It took 15 months to finish the project. Within the building, 5 more floors were added, containing classes, offices, and a cutting-edge broadcast studio. There were waterfalls inside and brand new rugs all over. They first let people in July 2005. In July 2005, Lakewood held its first service in the new building. It had room for 16,000 people, but every place was taken. That same year, more than 40,000 people went to the church every week, and their TV show was seen in more than 100 countries. Joel's word was understood all over the world. 2010, Lakewood paid $7.5 million for the small center, but Joel didn't stop there. He started a 24-hour SiriusXM radio show in 2014. The stadium was packed for his Night of Hope events. He became well known around the world as a preacher. You Can Live Your Best Life Now is his book. Millions of copies were sold after it became a hit. His sermons touched more than 10 million people every week in the US alone. He kept saying the same thing. Forgive people, have faith in God, say good things about your life, and wait for good things to happen. A book by Joel Osteen called Your Best Life now came out in October 2004. It looked like another self-help book with Christian ideas at first. It did, however, sell over 500,000 copies in just 3 months by December 2004. It won a Gold Book Award and sold out faster than anyone thought. After selling over 1 million copies, it won the Platinum Book Award in May 2005. How long the book stayed on the New York Times top list shocked everyone even more. For more than 200 weeks in a row, it stayed there. It's been almost 4 years straight. That's a very rare run, especially for a preacher who is writing his first book. It was bought by people all over the world more than 4 million times. Not complicated, but very strong. It said to keep a good attitude, have faith, and hope for the best. But it wasn't just for people who go to church. It felt warm and full of hope, so people from all walks of life picked it up. Joel's writing was easygoing and friendly. It wasn't preachy or hard to understand. That made him more appealing to people who had never read a sacred book before. As a result of this book, Joel did more than just become a famous author. He became famous all over the world and in his own country. He also changed how Christian writers thought about getting their work read by more people. What came next, though, shocked everyone even more. Many people thought Joel Osteen was rich because people gave money to his church, Lakewood. There was more to the story, though. It was a smart choice for Joel to stop getting paid by the church in 2005. He put his attention on making something bigger instead. He made a name for himself. He wrote more than 15 books, and at least 7 of them were big hits in the New York Times. Millions of dollars were made from these books. There is a book from 2005 called Become a Better You. Got him about $13 million in royalties and payouts ahead of time. Although Joel didn't end there. He started doing live speaking engagements and would sometimes charge as much as $100,000 or even $200,000 for each one. He filled up stadiums and venues that are usually used for concerts and basketball games. Also, he put out a lot of different goods, like clothes, gifts, books, and CDs, which can be bought online and at Lakewood's big gift shop. Joel gathered a huge following on social media, had more than 25 million Facebook fans, 10 million Twitter fans, and 5 million Instagram fans. These places didn't just help get his message out there. Plus, they showed him how to make even more money with paid posts and online reach. It was all connected. It is thought that he is worth about $100 million right now. He set up a business so that he could look humble and not interested in money while building a media power in secret. Things changed a lot for Joel in 2013. He began what was called the Night of Hope Tour. In addition to preaching in churches, he booked shows at some of America's biggest stadiums. The events were not free. Tickets cost about $15 each, and a lot of people bought them and came. On March 11, 2013, there was one event. Miami's American Airlines Arena, which can hold more than 20,000 people, was packed. This happened more than once. The tour kept going to places like Los Angeles, New York, and more. Arenas kept getting full. In 2019, he took Night of Hope to London's Wembley Arena, which was sold out. It felt more like a big concert than a speech at the shows. There were lots of people, lights, music, and intense talks. Simply in 2017, Lakewood Church spent $6.7 million on these events. In terms of both size and earnings, that shows how big they had grown. Your rise, Joel, wasn't a coincidence. They planned it out very well, especially when it came to the media. He did not just watch Christian channels. He looked for something bigger. He went on big TV shows like Larry King Live, Good Morning America, and Oprah. His talk with Larry King in 2005 was a turning point. Millions of people across America heard his word of hope through it. He did another interview with Oprah in 2012 and talked about the bad things people said about him because he preached wealth. In a different way, he said that all he wanted was for people to be positive and see a better future. His words did not include strict religion rules. He said he was glad, getting stronger, and sure things would get better. Therefore, he was more than just a teacher. Some people who didn't even go to church liked him as an inspiring speaker because of it. Joel Osteen didn't think anything strange would happen when he walked into a jewelry shop in Houston, Texas, in 1985. Something was wrong with his watch battery. But that short trip changed everything about his life. Nicole Olof, a young woman, worked behind the bar. While she was at the University of Houston studying psychology, she worked there. On that day, Joel didn't know that the woman selling watch batteries would later become his wife, his spiritual partner, and one of the most important women in American religion. 2 years after that chance meeting, on April 4th, 1987, they got married. In that one moment in a jewelry shop, two people formed a lifelong bond that would affect millions of people around the world. Faith and science were two strong forces in Victoria's life as a child. Donald Olof was her father. He was an engineer at NASA and helped make the Saturn rocket. Being very religious, her mom taught Sunday school every week. Joel was still doing work at his dad's church when Victoria got married. In the beginning, she kept to herself and helped Joel with his work by counting the gifts. But she became more well-known over time. She began the women's ministry at Lakewood Church in 2003, and it quickly became something that changed the lives of thousands of people every year. By 2008, she had written a lot of hits. Number 2 on the New York Times bestseller list went to her first book, Love Your Life, which was printed in 750,000 copies. People knew her soft voice and calm appearance on stage, as well as Joel's sermons. She used to work in a jewelry store and help customers. Now she is one of the most famous female preachers in the United States. Their kids, Jonathan and Alexandra, were born between the years 1990 and 1998. Brandon on April 20th, 1995, and Alexandra on November 9th, 1998. They grew up with cameras, people, and church events all around them. But instead of leaving, they decided to do what their parents did. Jonathan graduated in 2017 from the University of Texas, where he studied radio, TV, and movies. Prior to finishing school, he was already writing songs and leading prayer. His first speech was on Father's Day, and Alexandra joined in too. Their group and Lakewood's worship band used her singing a lot. Fans of a band called Elwaya have streamed their music hundreds of thousands of times. I've Got a Fire, one of their songs, became very famous. They're not just filling in. Together, they're making the church's future. Public interest grew as the church did, though. The Osteen family bought a huge house in River Oaks, which is one of the wealthiest areas of Houston. It took over 17,000 square feet and cost $10.5 million. It had 3 lifts, 6 bedrooms, and a driveway that could fit more than 20 cars. It got weird for people to think that a priest could live in such wealth. Later, Joel said that the church doesn't pay him anything. Books and speaking engagements bring him money instead. Still, the house became a sign of what many people think is the most controversial part of his message, that God gives wealth to people who are religious. People have a lot of problems with this message, which is called the prosperity gospel. The Osteens run Lakewood Church in a way that is similar to running a family business. Pastor Joel is in charge. Victoria helps lead the church. Their kids do a lot of music and social work. There are also important parts for Joel's siblings. He has a brother named Paul who is a dentist and a missionary. Lisa, his sister, writes books and addresses church groups a lot. The church spends about $70 million a year. Some people like how efficient the family is. Some say it feels like a secret club where one family has too much power. But no one can deny that this close-knit group helped Lakewood become a worldwide church whose broadcasts reached more than 200 million homes. The Word of Faith movement is where Joel gets his ideas from. It began around the middle of the 1900s with speakers like Kenneth Hagin. Having a strong faith and saying nice things can bring you luck, healing, and even money. Joel tells his listeners all the time that God wants them to be healthy, not have any debt, and do well in life. Millions of people watch his lectures every week, and he's thought to be worth $40 to $60 million. Many preachers and scholars, though, believe his message is harmful. Their argument is that it makes sick or poor people feel like they are to blame because they don't believe hard enough. Also, they say it makes Christianity a way to help yourself. Fails to understand the deeper lesson of sacrifice, turning away from sin and grace. Some people don't like Joel because he doesn't talk about things like sin, hell, and punishment. In talks, he said that he wants his words to be good. He does not wish to think about fear. He writes and preaches a lot about having faith in yourself, staying hopeful, and having a good mood. He's even said, "It's simple and uplifting, but some scholars say it's missing what Christianity is all about. Joel works on making people feel better about themselves instead of telling them to change and ask for forgiveness. Some have even said it's Jesus without the cross. They say it sounds nice, but it hides the truth about sin and the need to be saved. A number of well-known Christian leaders have called him a heretic. A Westminster Seminary professor named Michael Horton once said, "The message of Joel treats God like a tool for getting rich and happy instead of a Lord to be obeyed." He said that Joel's teaching was like reading fortune cookies because it was always about good things and never about hard times. IJ. Also, Packer said that any teaching that skips over the need to change is very wrong. There are many people who say that prosperity theology is the opposite of what the Bible says. It tells people not to be greedy, but to see money as proof of God's favor. Having a lot of stuff isn't what makes life worth living, especially Jesus. On the other hand, Joel's religion seems to say the opposite. Even the things the church does have led to confusion. As time went on, people noticed that Lakewood didn't do many baptisms or communions at their normal services. Some people were curious about whether the church was ignoring two of the most important practices in Christianity. Lakewood says it supports both on paper. There was a big baptism event in 1925 led by Joel. Hundreds of people were baptized at the same time. Also, communion is held, though not every week. For some, these acts of faith are still ignored in favor of happier messages and more emotional times. Some people say that's a problem. They say going to church isn't just about feeling good. It's also about remembering holy truths and keeping close to the Christian faith's roots. Another thing that makes Joel unique is the way he preaches. He does not write down things. He spends time writing the whole message ahead of time, then learns it by heart, so he can get ready for a job. He sometimes records himself and watches it back. There are exact times for each message, which are generally 27 minutes long and great for TV. His style has made him reach a lot of people. He looks at you, smiles, and talks clearly. Others, though, say that style costs something. His talks don't use a lot of Bible verses. It doesn't use the Bible very often, and the calls to salvation at the end don't always work. Feel hurried or like they're not getting the whole story. The way his dad, Joel Osteen, taught was very different. It was more traditional and based on the Bible. It's amazing how much things have changed in just one generation. In the middle of 2020, when the whole world was having a hard time with lockdowns and job losses, almost everyone was shocked by one thing. The biggest megachurch in the U.S., Lakewood Church in Houston, took out a $4.4 million loan in secret, a special program run by the government to help small businesses get through the pandemic. The name of that scheme was PPP, which stands for Paycheck Protection. It was made to help places that were just barely getting by, not huge churches that make almost $90 million a year. Pastor Joel Osteen immediately came under fire. He was in charge of the church and was already thought to be worth between $50 and $100 million. What people said back was quick and mean. People were shocked that a wealthy church and its leader would take money meant to help workers and shop owners who were having a hard time. Approximately 370 people were paid their pay with the loan during the 7 months that the church did not hold services in person. In addition, it was the third biggest loan in the Houston area that month. Numerous people were upset. It was seen as an issue between church and state by many. Under a lot of pressure, Lakewood returned the full $4.4 million in October 2021. Others said Joel and his wife Victoria didn't take any money from it. Unfortunately, their image was already harmed. That wasn't the only strange thing about Lakewood's money story. This year, the church spent almost $90 million, but only $1.2 million went to missions and service. Simply 1.3%. Instead, Joel's TV shows cost more than $25 million. Nearly $32 million was spent on weekly events, and an additional $11.9 million was used to raise money. Critics had to ask a hard question after seeing these numbers. Lakewood, was it really a church that helped the poor, or was it just a huge media machine that sold motivation? According to Joel Osteen, he hadn't gotten paid by the church since 2004 or 2005. He said that his money came from other sources. His books made him a lot of money. His very first book, Your Best Life Now, came out in 2004 and has since sold more than 4 million books. It was a bestseller for 200 weeks. The next book he wrote made him $13 million more. The house Joel and Victoria were living in 2010 was worth $10.5 million, but it was later sold for $16 million. In addition, they owned a $3 million house. In spite of saying he wasn't paid by the church, Joel was now one of the wealthiest Christian leaders in the world. Things became more disorganized in August 2011. An American Dollars band sued Lakewood and asked for $3 million. It was claimed that the church had used their song in DVD ads after their music license had run out. The band said the church was using their music without permission and pushing a message they didn't agree with. The case went on for a while. A judge agreed with the church in February 2012 and said that the license did allow them to use the music. But the case showed how big and dangerous Lakewood's media businesses had grown. Following that, Hurricane Harvey hit in August 2017. Houston was hit hard by the storm. A lot of people lost their homes. Folks needed a place to stay. For more than 16,000 people, Lakewood Church has enough seats. There were no doors open when the storm came, though. The church said on the internet that the building had flooded. However, videos started getting shared a lot. They showed that the church was dry and easy to get into. A lot of people were angry. Both famous people and regular people requested that the church open its doors. Everywhere, hashtags like Open Lakewood Church were popular. The public was so angry for days that Lakewood finally turned into a shelter. Many people thought it was too late, though. The harm was finished. One of the city's wealthiest churches hadn't been there to help. Not just Houston was mad about the delay. It led to a national discussion. More than 8,000 people who had to leave the city were crammed into the main convention hall. Starting from the beginning, people wondered why Lakewood wasn't helping. Some people saw the church doors locked and watched, but Joel Osteen said the church was just waiting for city shelters to fill up. In the meantime, nearby companies like Gallery Furniture started up right away. You couldn't miss the change. A bad story spread about Osteen as a kind leader, and it still hasn't fully fixed. It's been years. It took place again in July 2025. Power went out all over Houston because of Hurricane Beryl. Lakewood opened early and gave out food and drink this time. However, thoughts of 2017 were still fresh. People made jokes and memes online saying that Osteen locked the doors again. There was no longer any trust, even though the church tried to help. Some members said they were surprised the church even opened. You can feel the effects of one mistake for years afterward. Inside the church wall in 2014, there was another painful event. Someone's 18-month-old daughter got hurt at a service, they said. Their claim says that a church worker picked up the toddler's seat while she was still in it and threw it off a pew. The child fell to the ground face down. She said she was hurt physically and emotionally. After that, he left Texas for good. Even though Lakewood said it didn't happen, court papers show that the church did settle by giving the family $15,000. Still, the fear and the sense that something very wrong had not gone away. Next, the scariest thing ever happened. Female named Genocide Yvonne Moreno came into Lakewood Church on February 11, 2024, with her 7-year-old son during a Spanish service. A gun called an AR-15 was hidden under her trench coat. She had another gun and what she said was a bomb in her bag. She shot someone in the church hallway and hit him in the leg. 2 off-duty police cops who work in security came quickly. Many things happened at once, and Moreno died. Her son Samuel was hit in the head. The damage to the little boy was beyond tragic. Dr. Smith had to cut off half of his right brain. The frontal part of his brain was mostly destroyed. He had more than one stop in breathing. His grandma, Rabbi Wally Carranza, told him what was going on and said it was a nightmare. 17 days later, Samuel was finally taken off the ventilator. He made it through, but his path was not clear. Another church worker was hurt, but got better. The country was shocked by the killing. It was known for a long time that Moreno had schizophrenia and was violent. 2 months ago, she bought the AR-15 legally. Insane questions were made about Texas's gun laws because of that. The law that said there should be a red flag didn't stop her. Lots of people also didn't understand how Lakewood, with all its money and safety, could have let this happen. Moreno walked right in with deadly tools. It got so bad that she pointed her gun at a security guard. Whatever happened was caught on camera. Investigators said there was a protection team at the church, but the size and shape of the building made it hard to stop someone who wanted to hurt someone. All of them asked the same question after that. What can be done to make churches safe and open to everyone? After a few days, Joel Osteen talked to his fans. He advised them not to be scared. Being strong, trusting God, and showing their light was what he told them. Actually, he prayed for Moreno and her family. Others thought he missed the point, while others liked the message. Talking about religion wasn't enough, according to many people, including Samuel's grandmother, was ready to act. They wanted gun rules to be better. They needed something different. It took the cops a whole year to look into the shooting. The case was given to the district attorney's office to bring to a grand jury in February 2025. The police officers who fired their guns were looked into, as well as whether the church could have done more to stop the tragedy. For years, people had been trying to tell others about Moreno. Family members and even the church tried to stop her, but nothing worked. What happened that day is likely to change laws, safety rules, and how churches handle danger in the future. This has shed a lot of light on Joel Osteen's message of happiness and success. People believed that God wanted them to do well, think big, and live their best life for many years. After the outbreak, when so many people lost their jobs and prices kept going up, that message didn't seem as important. For some, it seemed old-fashioned. Speaking of faith alone bringing blessings is hard to hear when bills are piling up. Others who have followed Osteen for a long time are starting to wonder if his words still apply to their real problems. God is not just a get-by God, he still tells people. But for many, that promise seems far away. It keeps getting bigger between what he says and what people are going through. More and more young people are leaving churches like Lakewood. Fewer than 16% of millennials and 15% of Gen Z regularly attend church, according to studies. A growing number of them say they are spiritual but not religious. Big buildings and flashy speeches are not what they want. They want to be connected. They need to know why. Something real is what they want. Lakewood still gets tens of thousands of visitors every week, but the number of people going and watching online is slowly going down. Younger generations like digital adventures and living in smaller communities. Their faith should feel like a real thing, not just a show. Lakewood might not be able to retain its position as a star if it doesn't change.